All right, it is Friday the 29th of May, and a little over a month ago, we embarked upon the DK30 Quarantine Edition. The whole gist of the DK30 is to come up with something you can get done with in 30 days. Even if it's a big goal like write a book, maybe you just try to write 1,000 words a day for 30 days to make a little progress. And the specific thing that we were doing for this DK30 was just focusing on learning to treat yourself right in the midst of quarantine. So what do I mean by that? Certainly some of the people that signed up did things such as regular project work. You know, like I'm trying to finish cleaning the garage, let me just make myself do that. But so many people are stuck at home that there's a mixture that some people have of, I have more free time. I have less free time because there's no barrier between my work and my home life. I am stressed and all my coping mechanisms used to involve me leaving the house and hanging out with friends or something like this, and I can't do that. So what this one was largely about is trying to build good habits, not just in terms of achieving a thing, but also in terms of just treating yourself right. And we're going to review some of the wonderful projects that you guys did today, starting things off with the summary. We had a little survey that we put out at the end of the 30-day project period. And we have all these categories that sort of correspond to the 30-day project categories on the DayKnight TV website. But as always, we tend to have well, I shouldn't say as always. I actually realized I just misread this. Typically, we have a skew a little bit more towards the games and tech side of things. And it was really wonderful to see so many people doing visual arts projects. In fact, as we're going to see, I am just picking some of the projects. I am not picking the best projects. I am not doing that. I am just picking some really cool examples, some of which involve people struggling a whole hell of a lot. And I mean, oh my god, there are so many incredible ones in the visual art category. I'm not going to have nearly enough time to review all of them, but oh god, it was just wonderful. You can check that out on the DK30 site, which I actually should probably show in a sec, but we'll get to there. Some writing ones, music, health and fitness, a lot of people trying to reset their schedules. A good amount of game dev, good amount of career-focused ones. I was sort of surprised at just how even a distribution there was. Did you finish? Well, people who fill out surveys tend to have done well on their projects. So, I mean, it didn't, I take it with a grain of salt. We had 70% finish. And an additional huge chunk, this makes a total of 91% of people appear to be able to finish soon. That's incredible. And the I gave up, the 8.5%, dude, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but again, the whole goal is not necessarily to complete your project, it's to just do something to make more progress. In fact, there were some projects where someone said, hey, I have a new work schedule and I'm working from home a lot. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to embark upon a month of productivity. And literally, they just closed the project after like 3 weeks and were like, I learned that my updated work schedule was way more than I thought, and I just didn't have the time I thought, so I just didn't do it. It's great. It's no big deal. No big deal. Some other things, people who are doing their first DK30, wow, 76%. Look at this. I built useful habits or broke bad habits. Yes! This is the one I always care about the most. Built useful habits, broke bad habits. And as always, reducing the scope of the project is kind of what we want to lean towards, because 30 days, it's very easy to mess that up. It's very easy to be like, I'm going to make EVE Online by myself. And then you just like, by the end of the month, you have made one sphere with a skybox that is space. Looks like we have, how likely is it that you would recommend DK30 to a friend or colleague? One person was like, no. But this goes up to the right. That's generally good. That's generally good. And for those of you that have any issues or things you'd like to see changed, feel free to include some more suggestions here. We actually go through all of this. How many DK30s would you like to participate in per year? We had a bunch of people say 4. I'll be honest, I said 3 when I filled this out. I said 3. And one of the big things that we tried to do for this particular DK30 is to try to create a social experience, try to create accountability buddy groups, whereby people would get the chance to meet with some regularity with fellow knights who are working on their projects. And I'll be very honest, we still need to sort of gather more information and experience from a lot of the people who are in the groups to see how to improve that, what went right, what went wrong. A lot of people really liked the Accountability Buddy experience, being able to just show up and just talk with all these other people that were working, and then a lot of people exited their Accountability Buddy group with motivation and would then do a lot of work in, 1, 2, 3 days after the group, and then kind of peter off and then meet with the group again, and boom, spike of motivation. Fewer people did the sort of like lead up, oh my god, my Accountability Buddy group's coming up, I better have something to show, that sort of shame-fueled work. But it looks like half the people that responded to this were in and about half weren't. And this is actually kind of a nice number, the 3 to 4 and the 5 to 6 size. Oh my god, 10%. No, the group fell apart. How many average attendees would you want? Yeah, it looks like 5 to 6 feels good. It's nice to, frankly, I think it's nice to be able to do nothing and feel as though you still are part of a group experience and something happens. I find that this has happened to me with one-on-one group projects where sometimes I won't have anything to show. I'll show up and my creative partner or whatever will go, all right, here's what I did. What'd you do? I'm like, nothing. All right, let's end early. And the self-consciousness really kicks in. I personally just agree with the 5 to 6 number. And again, we got to do a little bit more research on the Accountability Buddy thing and go through all this stuff. But as always, interesting data, particularly this general project response categorization thing. Just to see the spread of projects was really wonderful. So I want to talk about my project. Now, I want to note, if you go to the DayKnight TV website, actually, hell, I'll just go to the homepage. If you go to the DayKnight TV website, you click DK30 right there. This has all the projects listed off here, and you can search based upon category, and I strongly recommend doing this, man. I strongly recommend doing this. It's a lot of fun. Almost always after project reviews, I hop on the website and I check stuff out. I like to stalk each and every one of you. And we're going to kick things off with my project, right? I think the last 3 months have been the busiest 3 months I have had in years. Insanely busy. Because all real life conventions and events that I was intending on going to, I shouldn't say almost all, like 100% of the in-person things were canceled. What the hell am I going to do with my time? Like work-wise? Oh my god. I mean, obviously I'm going to stream a little more, but then all those in-person events now want to do more stuff digitally, and there's this huge push to just do more stuff, and because there's all this changes, all these meetings, it's like, oh my god, there's so much going on. So I was in no mood to try to give myself some extra thing to push hard to try to complete. I just wanted to call some friends that I was not going to get the chance to hang out with due to quarantine. And I've been looking at that bookshelf for a long time and going, man, I want to reread a lot of that stuff. And I actually wound up not really updating my DK30 page very much. But this, probably just because I was like really busy with the other stuff, but this for me was an incredibly successful experience. I just wanted to focus heavily on habitizing reading and focus heavily on having like one call per week with people. And God, it felt really nice to connect with other people that I haven't spoken to in a while. Because I don't know, I kind of find other humans are like a whetstone, right? Like when I interact with a lot of different perspectives, I feel like it sharpens my brain because I'm just hearing different perspectives. And so, if you want to read more about what I wrote, yeah, you can check this out. Also, in terms of reading, there's a lot of stress going on in the world right now, and I find reading is a really great thing to focus on, to kind of step away and get away from all that nonsense. I shouldn't say nonsense. There's a lot of important, stressful things going on right now, but the ability to just read and be absorbed in something to give my brain a brief break. I'm a big believer in the idea of vigilance. Like doing some positive thing every day. Like if you want to lose weight, you don't burn 300,000 calories in one day, and that's how you shed all the weight. You do a little bit every day. Do a little bit every day. A lot of stuff happening that in the political ecosystem, in the economic ecosystem going on. A lot of contributions that a lot of people want to make. Pace yourself. Make sure you're capable of doing something every day. And when you're not doing that, that's the sort of thing that I like book reading for. Abel Call says, "Nah, tell me about this 300,000 calorie method." Another thing that I actually wrote about, this was the sort of end thought about my DK30, which is I'm pretty good at getting into a habit from week to week to week to week, like doing that. But I find that, for instance, moving, where I had to spend a week just putting stuff in boxes and then moving down, or if I have a live event, or if there's a convention I'm going to, like TwitchCon, that completely disrupts my habits. Now that I'm here in Los Angeles, I want to try to make sure that I can think more about how to hammer away at my at these activities that I really enjoyed. Like, right now, treat DK30 as some sprint for 30 days and then I just abandon it. Treat it a little bit more as the start of something. So I have some musings about how to improve my habits, but I had a blast. And by God, I set my bar the lowest I have ever set it in one of these DK30s. We're going to be talking about this throughout. How a lot of people had a lot of success with setting the bar low. So let's go to our very first project. Our first category is Code and Engineering, Fear Dragon 64. An absolute legend in the StarCraft community and a regular here. Wanted to make a bot that lets a streamer set a minimum MMR threshold in SC2 for someone to have in order to talk. So, you have to authenticate your MMR, and if you're not a good enough StarCraft player, it just doesn't let you talk. Now, there's a whole video that Fear Dragon made, and here's the website for the project, and I actually saved a perfect screen cap for where for our good friend Fear Dragon, and this video is hilarious, man. This video is spectacular, right? Like, wait, what is it? Go back. This video where Ravi talks about the Twitch chat GM bot is incredible. So love it. And Ravi also finished this in 21 days. In 21 days instead of using the full 30. Love the biting off a small amount that you can chew. All right, I wanted to kick off with this one early because I did see a lot of guilt showing up in the 30-day project chat. My family have some guinea pigs and rabbits. It's important to know how hot or cold it is. I want to learn how to build something to get these readings. Find out how to store them somewhere accessible for my family to determine if everything is okay. A little automated temperature reader. And look at this. So to summarize, I've done nothing, and I'm genuinely okay with that. It turns out I actually had a lot less capacity at the moment for doing projects than I anticipated. I'm already doing a lot of work in other areas of self-improvement, which means I couldn't dedicate time to this. That is okay. This is one of the reasons why I had this as one of the early projects, because there's a lot of people that I think beat themselves up when they have a stretch goal. Oh, I want to start getting in shape, and then they don't get in shape that month, and they go, oh. Next time they start thinking about getting in shape, all those bad feelings get brought up. Oh. I always encourage people to do stuff, get projects done, just as much as I'll encourage people to, hey, no, you're overworked, take a break. Screw it, don't do it. It's important to be dedicated to doing as well as dedicated to resting. And I am deeply grateful that Endless Raining shared this experience. Warpass. Yes, another set the bar low, which then kicks you into high gear. Warpass has been struggling to work consistently on side projects for years, and I want to build better habits and break a few bad ones. Usually aimed with too high goals and couldn't sustain it for longer than 2 weeks. This time around, I'm going for consistency with at least one small commit per day. For any of you who are non-coders, a commit you can think of as one step above saving your work. So for instance, if I have like 100 tasks for some project I was working on, like let's say whenever you hovered over this and clicked on it, the link was broken. On my task list, I would have something like, I want to make sure that broken link thing gets fixed. A commit is when you are done and saved and you have completed that task and boom, it's now saved to the full code base for anyone else to access, right? So the idea of if you say have 100 tasks, you might have one commit per task, or for a big task that gets broken down into 4 subtasks, you might have 4 commits to knock each of them down. So like a small commit a day is actually not that substantial, but one of the great things that Warpass wrote about is, let's see, it's right here. There were 41 commits in this project when I joined DK30. I expected to get at least 75 commits, right? So that's about 30. It's about 1 per day. But at the end, I'm ending at 95 commits. And something that Warpass wrote about is that often Warpass would sit down, and Warpass did like a lot of just really rich, delightful, well-organized posts here. But Warpass wrote a bit about how by sitting down to say, I'm just going to do this small amount of work, it felt so much less intimidating to sit down to work each day. And sometimes work that might have only been 5 minutes long would kickstart the brain to want to work another hour or two. And there's a number of projects in here. I think we have 3 projects that fall into that category. Setting the bar low, doing 5 minutes of work, which motivates you to do 25 minutes of work, and then all of a sudden you're doing more work per day than you had set your heart upon doing. The end of that sentence just gave up for me. So I love this, just the consistency of this. I think this is our last code and eng. And by the way, there were a ton of code and engineering projects in there. I definitely encourage you to explore through them. Again, I am primarily just showing some of the projects, not the best. There's a bunch of amazing projects that we just won't have time to look at. I just want to stress that for any of you that were really proud of yourself and thought like, oh man, I thought I did a good enough job to be qualified. You all did a good enough job to be qualified for stream. My God, it's just, it's just a time thing. Chain Chomp, going to the craft and cosplay. Chain Chomp with 2 eyes says, I recently started designing my own crochet patterns and selling them online. So far, I haven't had a lot of traffic and have only made 2 sales. I want to drive more traffic to my shop. 1, by increasing my stock, and 2, improving my online presence with a blog and Instagram. Look at this blink dagger that Chain Chomp made. Look at this blink dagger. Look at it. It's incredible. And I think this is the correct one. Yeah, that's it. So by the way, this is Chain Chomp's store. I am absolutely going to plug Chain Chomp, and I have no shame in that. Chain Chomp's been here for a long time. So hey, feel free. Look, 3 sales. Oh, I think we're going to hit 4 by the end of the day. One of the things that was incredible is this blog about how it was done, and look at the detail near the end of exactly how every single row is built from start to finish. Look at just the rich detail. I adore stuff like this. And I know our website maybe isn't the best either to format this, so I'm really glad, Chain Chomp, that you have this on your own blog. Just the ability to track the creative process is fantastissimo. Binary Sloth says, this is an engineering project. I know, right? Dude, people that do visual arts and crafts and like physical construction of things are just below my mind. I think the only visual thing I am capable of doing is organization. Like, I will alphabetize my comic books. Ooh. All right, let's close and go on to the next one. Oh, yes, from Domail. Wanted to start doing more painting of some untouched models. And look at this. Abraham Lincoln model. Just gorgeous. Beautiful miniature painting. And I really love this thing that Domail wrote, which is, it's a centerpiece model I've been excited to paint for a while, but have been too intimidated to try. And look at the gorgeous paint job that was done. Of course, a little bit of shamelessness. Like, doesn't that look like DayKnight Yellow to you? Ooh. Also, if any of you want to check out Domail's project, there is a ton of beautiful miniature photographs in this collection of images. Feel free to check some of those out. What are some of the other ones we got? This next one from Kaiser. Ah, yes. Phase 1 of my DK30 is to finish out several woodworking projects I've started and never finished. Time allows to expand to Phase 2 of starting some new projects that can be displayed in the house. Up until now, most of my projects have been for my shop, and I would like to create something good enough to be in the house. I really like, in fact, a lot of the professional projects that I work on, I like to think of like tiers of goals. So you'll note that Kaiser didn't have any week 1 to 4 goals listed here. I'd like to stress this website is not a requirement to participate in DK30. It's a tool that some of you can use. Hell, I didn't even finish updating my own post very much this time. But you can see the sort of planning that Kaiser has in terms of like this Phase 1, Phase 2. With a lot of my professional projects, I'll say, okay, we can obviously do this Tier 1 approach, but we're trying to get to Tier 2, and it's possible we could get to Tier 3. So let's kind of structure what the expectations would be in each of these. And we can always stretch, and if we don't get to Tier 2 or Tier 3, that's fine. We know we're going to get to Tier 1. And it winds up making the work feel very aspirational and hell yeah, we can do it, and much less, oh god, if we don't get to this, we have failed. It's very easy to get past a low tier requirement. And look at this incredible table that Kaiser built. Look at this incredible table. Table, shelf, drawer. I don't even know what this would be called. I mean, look at how just organized and primitive. And all these construction steps. I mean, look at all these like vices here to hold what I assume is wood glue together. I don't know. But I mean, I don't understand how a lot of people that work in like visual construction, or excuse me, 3D construction or visual stuffs, I don't understand how people can like envision those guts turning into this finished product. It's so cool to see. All right, our next category is education and career. Sugarloop Sketches says, I'm an artist, as an artist with absolutely no background or training in 3D art of any kind. I want to throw myself into the Blender world and learn all I can. This is both because I recently got an ANET A8 3D printer on which I want to print my own 3D creations, and because I have a persisting dream of recreating old point-and-click interior environments with modern-day projects. This was so cool. Look at this. Here is some cutouts, some prints that have been made in Blender and then printed off with a 3D printer, but look at this art piece. That good old, oh, that's a nice photo of a house. Oh, wait, it's not a photo. It's actually a 3D environment that's being built. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And this is, yeah, no, like when I looked at this, I was like, what? It took me a moment to be like, oh, yeah, no, I see. I can see some of the texturing looks a little synthetic, but this is a wonderful look. This is 18 days ago. That was like 2 weeks ago. Sugarloop Sketches just followed along with some Blender learning and made something nice. And Blender is one of those tools that I've also always wanted to learn because as confident as I am in my ability to make cubes and to generate gameplay with cubes and spheres, it would be nice to learn to just make something slightly more sophisticated than the temp art. And I also love that it's just, I just want to make my own stuff. Next education and career one, Wolfie is doing something that when I actually read this, I just thought, man, that's a really good idea. I might want to do this myself in the month of June or July. Since quarantine, I found myself unable to do productive work at my desk for an extended period of time. I'm a college student. While my grades are remaining intact, it feels gross and bad to always catch myself playing video games and doing homework at the same time. I'm going to schedule out 10 to 11 a.m. as a work production period Monday to Friday. This means doing homework or D&D planning that creates something exclusively for that hour. And Wolfie has just some really nice reflections and notes on trying to focus on just creating this block of time. And I like that the goal is to figure out how to conserve a specific time period. I don't know, like the 10 to 11 a.m. as just the hour at which work gets done. I don't know why this didn't register for me as sharply, but like when I read this, it like struck me. Is I remember when all the dailies that I did were 7 to 9. Nowadays I do a lot longer shows. I do like 6-7 hour streams. But back then it was just a 90-minute show, sometimes as long as 2 hours. And anytime I wouldn't have anything to do in that evening, say it was a Friday and I didn't stream on Fridays, I would feel huge swells of energy right around 6:45. I think it's entirely possible to like habitize the body to kick into gear. But yeah, no, I just thought this was a really cute one from Wolfie. I like this one. Let's go to the next one from Mr. Kaji. Been wanting to resume my studies for a few years and never seemed to find a good occasion. As my first attempt during last DK30, this time I'll be setting expectations to the very minimum. Yay! What Mr. Kaji was setting out to do was to just focus on study. And as far as I was interpreting this, Mr. Kaji is looking to work on the ability to sit down and get X amount of time completed on just learning a new thing. And for me, like, I haven't been in school in 9 years. It's good for branding. But I still like studying stuff, still like learning about stuff, like my machine learning escapades and whatnot. Mr. Kaji just has some wonderful reflections and records of how many pages and how much of each type of study was accomplished on each day. And one of the things I love from week 4, actually let me come to week 4 in a moment. You can see like shorter stretches of 15 minutes, longer stretches of 45, and you see like these are on average shorter, closer to 20, and week 1 had also a pretty wide range. But what I love so much is in this week 4, something struck me too about the idea of just, I just spend like 25 or 30 minutes. I am someone who typically, when I want to work on a thing, I tend to want to do 2 to 4 hours, no matter what it is. If I'm cleaning, I want to spend like 2 to 4 hours, like just deep dive cleaning. Or at the very least, if I'm cleaning the kitchen, I don't just want to do the dishes. I want to do all the dishes and I want to like scrub down the counters and stuff like this. I want to like do the full thing. I have not actually, I think, ever in my life tried to ask myself, how do I get 20 minutes of productivity out of thing X per day? And Ghost Talker in chat is writing, I think, exactly what captures my feeling, which is that small amounts of time are so easy to not value. Yeah, it's so easy for me to be like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to like plow through this like really, really hard all day long. And then like, I do that once a week or twice a week. And then I just spend 5 days a week being regretful. This was lovely. This was lovely on the emphasis of every day. So again, this is Mr. Kaji's project. I really liked this one and want to dig into it a little deeper. This is our last education and career focus from Inglorious Cobb. Oh, this is so cute. As an assistant principal, my wife wants to gamify the classes so that student participation is increased during quarantine. My role is to create the story and world for the kids to navigate in. This includes character customization options, quests, NPCs, tournaments, etc. This will last for a 6-week period. And look at this. Mrs. Pinow's class adventure. And you can get this link from the DK30 website. Again, this is Inglorious Cobb. But look at this. Look at this, like, adorable little class adventure. Look at the class leaderboard where you're earning points. And there's little badges you can get. And then look, oh, we're starting to get some story time. Look, we have some quests. All right. And to catch a thief. As Leora walked through the fair on their way to the next quest, they saw something strange. A man standing in a stall ahead grabbed something from the stall table, quickly started to walk away. And there's like all this like art and story in there. I mean, this is so cool. And there's some audio, which I actually didn't even realize was here. Click to play to hear the text read aloud. Oh, that's so great. And it's actually really darling, man. It makes me, like, I want to be part of Mrs. Pinow's class adventure. Like, this is so adorable. I love just the creativity. I mean, as someone whose career was built upon educational content, I love the creativity of this type of educational content. Bravo, Inglorious Cobb. Finished writing all the quests. Now it's left is addressing any issues or concerns the teachers have and anything else my wife needs around the story. Aww. Soon I will unpack bugs. Until then, I will drink from a gallon. Alright. Yes. On to game dev. One of the more popular categories. So, yes, Chimera said, I've had an idea for a small game, and I want to improve my JavaScript for professional web development, and to create a design plan and then actually write it from scratch. I have an idea for a top-down space-themed physics shooter, which I think is reasonable to complete in 30 days. The projects that I have the most experience in, obviously, is streaming and game-related stuff. And I can't stress enough how not complex of a design you need to learn a whole lot about just working on a project and collaboration and this sort of thing. And I thought Chimera's design here was spectacular. So when it starts off, I'm going to say what's happening before we look at it. You are a ship, and when you hit one of the direction arrows, you fire a bullet in that direction, and you fly off in the opposite direction. So here I am. There's no audio, just really simple design, and you can bounce off the walls too, or you can crash. Whoops, pulverized by debris. You can crash into the walls and you'll bounce off. And I mean, even something like this requires a lot of little stuff that you may not have considered. I mean, even things like, all right, let me see if I can cheese this. Okay, no, hold on. We're gonna cheese this hard. Okay. I'm bad at games. But Chimera has the GitHub with the entire thing up, and lots of really delightful lists and pieces of information. I'm always fascinated by how, with any task that I try to do, all the extra tasks that wind up, you keep going, all right, I'm going to finish this in 2 days. And then you work a little bit more and you go, okay, but let me add this other thing in there that I kind of forgot about. And then it'll be 3 days. And then 10 days later, you're like, all right, and then one more day and I'm done, you know? Like, oh yeah, look at this. Monitos, yes, I'm a AAA developer and I started off making games similar to this. I found making clones of really simple arcade-style games taught me a lot. Yeah, dude, like, all I did for, or I should say 80% of what I did when I was first doing a lot of coding development stuff was I just copied shit. Shamelessly, I'd be like, I am going to recreate Lode Runner. I am gonna just try to make this look as similar to that as humanly possible. That's the whole goal. Learn one thing at a time. So this was a really clever project from Chimera. Let's see here. Oh yes, Commander Cookie, another wonderful regular here on 30 Day Project, says, an ongoing project I have is a stealth action game in Unreal Engine 4. I'm creating the main character using this as an opportunity to properly learn sculpting a base mesh and work with clothing and then animate all of that. This is another great example of the big thing. I have a stealth action game. I'm going to scope down to just focusing on this character. There's a lot of GIFs that we're going to scroll through, but look at the nice puffs of smoke at the end. Running animation, and animation is one of these things that, like, you can just keep adding more complexity to how to make it, or keep adding more and more complexity to make it look better and better. Some other things to note, look at the physics that's on the scarf. Also, you can see little, I don't know if my eye's playing tricks on me. My monitor's a little far away, but it looks like the hair is wiggling around a little bit. Some extra animations, trying to make sure that the grabbing of things can pick back up. I want to scroll down here to... Where is the hair stuff? Yeah, here we have some of the modeling of the actual character. Some idle animations, some running animations. Yeah, look, playing with the hair physics in here. Commander Cookie has a whole slew of fantastic updates in this. As you can see, there's a lot to scroll through. Let's see here. Here's another one that made me howl with laughter. This is from Mach. Deer Flipper is a top-down puzzle game about flipping deer. I have a bad habit of finishing 2 to 3 day game jams, but never actually finishing a full game, working in bursts and then stopping. I know that feel, Mach. This DK30 will be about adding lots of new mechanics and levels to ultimately attempt to finish the gameplay and achieve around 100 levels. This project I loved as an example of starting down one direction and realizing that another direction is actually the important one. Now, you might want to say that that's pivoting, but in Silicon Valley, pivot is a word to say, I don't want to have to be responsible for the plan at any point. So whatever comes to my mind isn't impulsiveness. It's pivoting. So I sort of have been inundated with that kind of behavior when I was in the Bay. So, other than using that word, Mach, there's still months of work ahead, but I'm marking this challenge is complete now. Yeah, here's the actual update I was looking for. This first week's extra task was to boost Deer Flipper's social media presence. After developing that more, I realized that 10 levels a week isn't actually the most important thing, and switched the goals. Social media presence was a task that took work every single day. First of all, this has some hilarious deer flipping animations. This is so cute. But then, there's all these really nice art pieces, images. There's these, where's the level editor one? I think a lot of these sprite animations are really nice. Ah, yes. Is this it? Yeah, look at this really nice level editor. Really nice tile. There was one. Yeah, look at this. You can paint in the tiles. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. And by the way, this is another example of that. I'm going to finish this in 3 days, and then it becomes 12 days, right? You decide you want to make some levels, and then you think, oh, I think a level editor would be good. And then you spend some days making the level editor and adding tools to it, and then growth keeps happening. But Mach also included some notes about, the tweets, the various impressions and traction and some of the challenges and work that comes along with focusing on some of the social media stuff. I have said this with respect to playing a game competitively. It's not important that you have the right plan. What's important is that you have a plan, so that way you have a thing that you can change. And Mach writes a good bit about, okay, I'm going to focus on making levels this week. Okay, after spending a week doing that, I'm realizing that this other thing will actually give me a bigger bang for my buck. So that's my plan now. It's not doing things randomly. It's going down one direction until you have more information, and then going down the better direction. And plus, when you have a really large project like that, it's very easy. Whoops. My God, the camera's on me. Switch over to here. It's very easy when you have a larger project to just keep growing and expanding the scope of things. All right. Inertius made this post, but this is actually a collaboration of 8 Day-Nights that is a continuation of the Day-Night Game Jam that started in the... I don't remember the exact date, but it was in it was closer to the end of last year, in the fall. With this game dev project, we are working towards releasing a demo roughly in line with the timing of this DK30. However, the purpose of writing something more in line with the spirit of DK30, I'll recant reflections on how the team processes are working. Inertius has the Discord where you can go check out their game. There's all sorts of updates and arts and UI and examples and structures and GIFs. It's really cool that a whole bunch of y'all joined together, merged forces to just push forward on something. Because, dude, as I'm getting older, I just find that projects are like my favorite excuse to hang out with someone. Because, like, you ever talk to someone you haven't spoken to in a while, and you're like, I don't even know what the hell to talk about? You ever had that feeling? Well, if you're working on a project with them, that's the thing to talk about. Right? There's your shared common interest, that sort of thing. That's so cool. Look at all this. Oh, look at all that sexy Unity. Yeah. And look, everything I just scrolled up to was week 4. Look at week 3. Look at Inertius's ability to document. This is awesome. Great success. And that is going to wrap for some of the game dev projects. Let me open up my second set of tabs over here. Let me adjust the volume knobs. Is this it? Bam. Okay. So, as a different category, we have the gaming and streaming category. Because there are, as many of you know, a lot of creative projects that can go into gaming. Like, literally, I'm streaming right now. I'm not doing game dev. I am making content on Twitch, often about video games. I know some people have a lot of goals with that. I want to give a shout out to Marth, who hit the leaderboards for speed running on an SC2 mission. That was one of the 30-day projects. We have Spider, who, very similar to I have a bookshelf of books I want to reread or I want to start. Says, at least 1 hour a day, I want to play a game from my backlog. I want to make an effort to chunk through my massive Steam backlog and have some variety in my life. I'll count any game I've played less than 60 minutes. I need to play for at least 1 hour a day, but if I enjoy it, I can play more. Really like this. I have personally found there are games, the example I always go to is Stardew Valley. There's games like Stardew Valley that I just didn't like the first hour or 90 minutes that I played it. And Spider actually had a really similar experience with Prey. Spider tried out the game Prey and stopped after an hour, and now feels like Prey may be one of Spider's favorite games of all time. Friendly Spider says, oh my god, I signed in and he's looking at my, it's you, Spider, holy shit, Ihan timing! No, I thought this was wonderful. This was a wonderful project to sort of go through the backlog, because I find that trying to think of the physical object I'm thinking of, but you ever like roll a marble along a surface and then it just gets like stuck in like a little pit of the surface that looks like a little gravity well, and if you like push it up a little bit and let it go, thunk, it shrinks back down to that low point, but if you push it far enough, it will thunk, fall into another groove somewhere else. I feel like that describes me as a person where I'm like, I don't know, I'm just going to watch Artosa stream StarCraft again, right? I just every night, just do the same thing again and again and again and again. I actually have to jolt myself into doing some sort of different habit, which is what I liked about Spider. Purely about an entertainment habit, less so one of a specific skill set or project forward progress. Friendly Spider says, oh wow, I felt like I was so lame picking up such an easy project. Dude, look at your pal Sean. Boom. I literally just wanted to read books and talk to my friends I hadn't talked to in a while, man. I'm right there with you. Now this is a little bit shameless from your pal Sean, but Morph and Mr. Wizard have been training StarCraft Brood War. I don't know if you know this, but StarCraft Brood War is a game I quite like. I actually think it's quite a good game. Morph wanted to play 130 games of Brood War, averaging 5 games a day. Because Morph has been interested, has been watching since Remastered and been playing casually. And here we also have Mr. Wizard, who is also doing another dedication to playing a crap ton of StarCraft. And look at this, Morph played a ton of games, played 57 games on the ladder and roughly 70 games total, and most of them during the final 2 weeks, with an expected abysmal win rate of 31%. I want to stress something about win rates in StarCraft Brood War specifically. In 2007 or so, 2008, there's a server called Icy Cup, and you actually still see the remnants of it mentioned there. Icy Cup right there. You started at the D rank. And every 1,000 points, you would go up to D+, and then another 1,000 C-, and another 1,000 C, and C+, and so on, until you'd be in, A and A+ range. And the common statement was getting past D+ is the challenge. Because people had been playing for 10 years in 2008. Now they've been playing for 22 years. Morph. I mean, I think a 31% win rate is actually fucking spectacular. I think that is, like, for someone who's just kicking off, that's amazing. Because in every game, whether you win or lose, it's real hard to just manage your bases. It's real hard to just manage your worker production. But, I mean, this kind of stamina and focus is just spectacular. More notes from Morph throughout here that we're not going to go over. But Morph did play a show match against Mr. Wizard at the end. And Mr. Wizard has actually recorded every single game Mr. Wizard played in a spreadsheet, wins and losses, man. And look, there's all these analyses in here. Mr. Wizard was trying to hit 1,500 and did it 10 days ago. Hit 1,500 for the first time. Woo! Yeah, man. Cheers to both of you. And one thing I love is that Morph and Wizard were accountability buddies for one another. Sort of checked in, kind of kept each other honest, and kept pushing along. And dude, God, I find it so fun to just do something with a friend. I mean, there's a lot of incidental ways that we, as people, do that, like I've been playing Rocket League and I always play with my friend Rob, and that's a thing for us to do together, but it's also really fun when we're each individually pushing on it, sort of checking in. Deathrin, who asked a question, also in the gaming and streaming category, asked a question a few weeks ago, maybe it was even a few months ago here on this channel, about, Sean, did you ever get mad or frustrated when you lost, and how do you not get frustrated and mad upon losing? And I personally really struggled with losses. I think my sort of analysis as an adult is that as a kid, I just had a really hard time. I was like bullied in school. I didn't really feel like I connected with anybody. I didn't really have a friend group or consistent friends. I had a lot of friends that were there for a little bit, gone, that sort of experience. And I think I internalized a lot of the sort of stressful experiences I had. And I had this like, okay, but I have Brood War. And if I succeed at this, it means I'm successful as a person and I'm worthwhile as a person. And if I lost, oh my God, no one's ever gonna love me. Right? I think that this is why my emotional stakes were off. I was incapable of just like playing a game for fun. Even if it's just like fucking skee ball at an arcade or whack-a-mole, I'd be like, I have to win! Focus! That sort of shit. So I talked a bit about this, and Deathrin, I thought, had this really cute structure for approaching this. Like, Mondays and Thursdays, deliberately focus on making goofy, janky decks. Tuesday and Friday, play StarCraft 2, and upon losses, just sit with the loss. Wednesday and Saturday, CSGO Valorant, celebrate success. You know, these different types of perspectives that were there. And, I mean, you're not going to be able to reprogram your intuitive reactions like that. But look, Deathman saying, all things considered, this project was helpful. It was a failure in terms of meeting my daily goals. That's okay. You can't... I find that, like, changing emotional reactions is kind of like steering an oil tanker. You just have to, like, make gradual pushes on it. Like, nowadays, when I lose, I don't even register that the loss has happened. I'm just like, oh, fuck, well, whatever. You know, like... But that was after, like, a decade of focused effort. But it was successful in helping me approach games with a more consciously excited and optimistic attitude. I'm usually quiet in a detached sort of way, so I'd say this project created a powerful precedent by forcing me to be more present, try to laugh off my failures instead of burrowing deeper into the safety of my inner psyche. Man, I think Deathrin, A+ effort, and I know how tiring it is to try to adjust your own emotional reactions. Because I'll separate the difference between an emotional reaction and a behavior that you do as a result of that emotional reaction. So, for instance, if someone... Actually, this is a very appropriate one. If someone says something really mean to me and hurtful to me, either on Twitter or in the chat, never when I'm in a show, but generally before a show or something like that is where it would happen. If someone says something really mean and hurtful, I will feel my reaction in the moment will be one of anger. But my behavior externally is calm. But I still have the anger sometimes. You know, or similarly, I hit a period where I would get angry when I lost, but I just wouldn't do anything. I'd just be like, you know, things like that. And I think a lot of people conflate their reaction with the behavior. Or if someone loses a game and they're like, ah, versus someone who doesn't say anything, the quiet person might actually be having a harder emotional experience than the person who's having the outburst. And the hard thing to do is to change the emotional reaction. It's a lot easier to change a sort of behavior, and sometimes the change of the behavior can lead the emotions. Like if you do what Deathrin's doing and you sort of laugh off. Where is it? There it is. Try to present laugh off failures. If you start laughing it off, then all of a sudden you might just start to find humor when you start to lose. Your reaction begins to become humorous in that. But either way, as Deathrin, fucking cheers to you for using games as a tool to learn more about your emotional experience. Our next category is the health, fitness, and food. AH Pribal says, for this DK30, I want to try to quit cigarettes, and in the last post, Pribal is now 18 days without a cigarette. Yes. Yes, AH Pribal. Oh, you're in chat. Hell yeah, Pribal. Yeah, my brother actually had spent a few years trying to quit smoking and stopped a few years ago. And it was really challenging for Nick to find the approach to just like the mental techniques and the external techniques to figure it out. I believe you can do it, AH Pribal. I know how challenging that is when it is chemical. You know, I remember someone describing that a lot of times you view, you know, like withdrawal symptoms, like I want a cigarette, I want to smoke, and I'm feeling really irritable because I want to smoke. A lot of people sort of intuitively go, oh, because I have been having a lot of nicotine when I stop, that means that my body's going to feel irritated because it doesn't have the thing. It doesn't have the nicotine. And it's that the lack of the nicotine is causing this. Whereas a different perspective is that, like, my body is making me feel this way to try to get me to go smoke. You know, it's like thinking of it from the other perspective. Where, you know, it's not that the nicotine has a tug, it's that your body has a push. Your body's pushing you to try to do this. It's going to make you feel bad until you smoke, and it's going to stop making you feel bad. I don't know, I find these sort of perspective differences really interesting because there's a lot of things that someone says to my face in terms of learning something and it doesn't click, and then when I hear just the right explanation I go, I see, I get it. Regardless, I know how challenging that is. AH Pribal, as close friends of mine have, and my brother have done the smoking quitting things, so cheers to you. Eric Burkhart. Ah, yes, the founder of DayKnight TV, alongside DayKnight, Eric. Eric, who runs D30 and got this whole website built because he was in charge of coordinating all that stuff. What have we been up to, Eric? Wow, it's almost as though things that you tell me as a friend turn out to be true. I've seen this before. Eric says, I was originally planning a more work-oriented task, but I've had too much work recently. I need to focus on myself. Since my gym is closed, Eric, by the way, is like a very healthy person. Eric's very dissimilar from Sean Plott in that way. I am a sporadically healthy person, and I certainly love to eat my feelings. But Eric says, since my gym is closed, my normal fitness routine has been disrupted, so I'll be building new fitness habits. Also, my bedtime has been drifting forward, and I need to fix that. Look at this. Weight training, running, walking the dog, moving the bedtime back. And it's actually really interesting. Eric, this wasn't written in here, but Eric is a new dad. And babies have a real habit of saying, no, this is when you're allowed to sleep. And look at this. Look. Eric lifted on 12 of the 30 days, ran on 22 of the 30. Hell yeah, Eric. Did dog walking on 25 of the 30 days. Oh, look at this dog. Oh yeah, look, and there's more things that Eric's writing about, but it doesn't matter because look at this dog. Oh, look at that dog. What a good dog. And I like some of the notes that Eric has written here that, we've even talked about before. The idea of like, hey, the bedtime didn't shift as early as I wanted it to. I should eat dinner earlier. I should cut out late night snacks. Eating times are the biggest things that disrupt my sleeping. This is the second biggest thing that disrupts my sleeping. Avoid intense games late at night. Sometimes I'll play a 70-minute game of Dota that I lost, and I'll just lie in bed, somewhat irritated and wired, and I'm like, go to bed. And it just like doesn't fucking work. I love this sort of awareness of what are some of the factors a few steps back from the goal. Instead of, damn, I went to bed at 12. Tomorrow I'm going to go to bed at 11. Damn, I went to bed at 12 again. Tomorrow I'm going to go to bed at 11. I like it's like that Eric goes, okay, I went to bed at 12 a.m. I'm going to try to eat dinner earlier. Trying out small adjustments and small changes. Next one. In Health, Fitness, and Food Worth says, 10 years ago I could cycle for 100 minutes, burn almost 1,000 calories pretty easily. Today I can put in about 500 calories and change over an hour. I want to see if I can get that number to 600 before I start pushing for longer times. And Worth, dude, this was just incredible. Has graphs about all the time and the wattage and the calories. And also look at the weight. Worth on the end of February was a little close to 300 and it's just been just going down and down and down and down and down and down. Just incredible dedication. Look at this. Down almost 50 pounds. And also, up here, yes, I reached 99 minutes of cycling, burning just short of 1,000 calories. Was it worth it? I'm always sort of fascinated by different ways that people get back into shape. And I think that one of the things that I want to work on when I start, finally, once I unpack all my stuff and start getting into a fitness routine, is trying to just have maybe some very small, simple, straightforward things to work on. Not try to take on too much complexity. Because, like, for me, if it's like, Sean, do a 20-minute workout where you do 6 different movements, I find that way harder than an hour of running. And I liked that this goal was to just focus on one number, like the duration of cycling and the calories, and just do that. That aligns with my brain really nicely. Ava calls to see he knows a 300,000 calorie method. What a baller. Oh, here's another fascinating health, food, and fitness one from Retnuk with an H in there. Retnuk. My goal is to start brewing my own kombucha at home and hopefully produce a batch by the end of the month. And look, Retnuk, look at that. Brewed some kombucha. Note that he wanted to, it's slightly less fizzy than I had hoped, so I'm going to let the pineapple and strawberry bottle sit for a day to try to get more carbonation. I am always amazed at how complex and also not complex so many things are. Like, if you want to start brewing beer, Yeah, it can take like 10 years to master how to make a really amazing brew. But to start, you buy a kit and you set it up in an hour. It's up, and then you wait around. You go back and you have beer, right? Like this is really darling. Retnook making some kombucha in there. There's a little bit more details and specifics and images of some of the kombucha in progress. Next category is music. 2 more categories to go. Zwip says, music keeps me sane. I tend to play for some amount of time almost every day, and pretty frequently I come up with a chord progression I really like, but rarely do I actually work on fleshing those ideas into full songs. For this 30-day project, I'd like to dedicate regular time to songwriting. Commit 30 minutes a day after work. Hopefully more on some days, if I have time to try to make some decent recordings. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here it is. Improv for No One from Zip. We're 7 seconds in because I don't know how to rewind a song all the way in SoundCloud. Hope you can hear it okay. That's Zwip. Zwip's playing on the guitar right now. He is Zwip.
Got it figured out, he said to me,
and sing along too.
To the floor. If we just meditate each morning, we won't feel like
this is nice.
Yeah, that's a thought. Sure, I guess why not? But I really just came over.
Zwip, your voice is beautiful. It's a beautiful voice, man. Oh, hell yeah. Zwip, I hope you compose more, put more stuff out. Once again, if you go to the music section under home, music, you can see all the music pieces instantly show up. Look, there's Zwip. Zwip writes some songs. Bam. Now, Tantalus Gaming. Tantalus also recorded an instrumental album. Look at this. Recorded an album called Orison with the... my brain broke for a moment. We're going to try again. Tantalus created a whole instrumental album called Orison, and we're going to listen to the title song, Orison. And this is also really nice. Listen to this. As a big fan of atmospheric music. It's really nice. Oh, yeah. It's really nice. Really nice texture to the instrumentation. Like you can feel the... I like a little bit of buzzy. I don't know what the term is for it, but when it feels like the instrument's really close to your ear. JTSME says, I thought this was my Final Fantasy XIV music. I was very confused. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There were a number of incredible music projects in here. Caladrius Ascend did an atmospheric guitar album. Let's see, what are some of the other ones we got? Bam! Yeah, Bruce Ashby, who did some legendary music from the last DK30. I mean, Bruce Ashby has been a regular DK30s before, but one thing I love so much about what Bruce Ashby was doing in this one is, again, if you click on a single person here, you can see multiple ones of their projects. And the difference that Bruce Ashby did in this project versus some of the previous ones was to focus on, where is it? It's focused on, there it is, quality rather than quantity. And in the quarantine period with some pieces I can be proud of, right? Like, I like the whole alternation of different things, you know? It's sort of like, if you're doing long distance running one day and interval training another day, right? Focusing on different things. I'm just going to get in the habit of making music. Okay, now I'm going to really nail the quality and the depth of an individual piece. And in particular, Bruce Ashby has a ton of really nice write-ups about the entire process of creating these, which, I mean, as someone who's interested in listening to music but has no idea how to compose music, this was a really wonderful read. I encourage all of you to go check it out. Let's listen to some of this. Oh, by the way, we're listening to I think it's A Real Gentleman. Where does it show the name of the track up here? I'm pretty sure it's... Yeah, there it is. It says it at the bottom. A Real Gentleman. I was correct. Haha. All right, are you ready? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Are your D&D campaigns fucking boring? Play this music in the background. They'll think you're a good DM even though you have a long way to go. Oh, yes. On to writing. Writing. Babushka. Loved this one. I think I've talked about this before. I am really interested in learning more about authorship, writing, because I feel like in the same way that an author is an individual just making creative work by themselves, streaming is kind of... I feel like being an author or novelist is very, very similar to being a streamer in terms of creative process. Like when I want to learn about creative process, filmmaking doesn't... I feel like I don't have a lot of transference. Even game development, I feel like doesn't have a lot of transference to, streaming. But writing really does. This whole, how do I create? How do I reflect? How do I think about it? How do I iterate on what I'm doing? And Babushka focused heavily on something that... where was it? Yes, here's in the description. Yeah, by the way, let's trust a writer to have lots of really detailed headings and everything, huh? One of the things that Babushka wrote about was... I will not edit or reread previous scenes, even as they begin to conflict. The editing bug pokes me because revision is the best part of writing. If you start diving into writing forums or watching talks of amateur authors or even professional authors, there are a lot of people that love just writing and outputting, and they never get around to editing. They don't want to edit. They want to write the next thing. They want to get those creative juices flowing. For each different creator, there's often things that you'll gravitate towards and things you'll gravitate away from. And I thought this was a really fascinating one, given all the reading that I've done, all the research and watching of lectures that I've done, that Babushka wanted to focus on just creating. Just making stuff and screw the editing. I jumped out of my comfort zone and constructed a complete outline for this novel to quell the raving discovery writing monster in my soul. Now it's time to see what the hell happens. It's just a month. Just a month of learning what the process is. Hell yeah. And Babushka has these incredible charts showing which days one or more hours of writing was done and how many words was generated in each of those days. In the last month, Babushka has written over 40,000 words. Zero Draft is the name of the book that Babushka's working on. 45,000 word. Holy crap, I can't believe this thing is over. Can't thank my eggplant comrades enough. I don't know what that means, but I do know the eggplant emoji means penis. They listened when I was frustrated with my writing. We shared each other's successes, and they supported me when the real world struck unexpectedly. I feel like one of the big advantages that streaming has over other... That was our group. Oh, okay, that's the name of your group. It's okay, I'm just saying what I know about eggplants, and I'm just saying. It's the Accountability Buddy group. Oh my god. Okay, look, I think some of you have seen that I'm a mix of very tired and overcaffeinated. It took me a minute to even understand what was being referenced here, which is the Accountability Buddy groups that were part of this entire DK30 that we organized. Yeah, they were named after vegetables. Right. The thing that I participated in organizing? Right. Oh, of course. By the way, have you guys heard of this DK30 thing? Like, fuck. News to me, huh? Never occurred to me. That's how much the eggplant emoji has ruined everything. What the fuck were we talking about? Oh yeah, I think one of the advantages that being a streamer has over other forms of creative output is that I get feedback every 5 seconds. Like, stand-up comedy is similar, right? You say a joke, no one laughs, you're like, oh, shit. If I'm making content and no one cares, I see the viewership drop in real time. And when it comes to something like trying to make a novel, which is like a big thing that gets made and then gets pooped out, having groups as a form of feedback, and I don't mean feedback in terms of, is this good or is this bad? Oh, Sean, here's my concerns. Here's my feedback to help you improve it. I mean just literally going, I wrote 2,000 words today, and having someone else go, great job, keep at it. Like, that's awesome. That is good. That's just such motivation. And there is a ton of really, really nice analysis here. For years, I assumed I was a discovery writer. As it turns out, I'm not. I sit somewhere in the middle of plotters and pantsers. If you don't know what any of this means, you can read tons more over here. Once again, this is Babushka's writing project, which brings us to our final category, which is visual art. Visual art. There were an insane number of awesome completed visual art projects. And in the interest of time, I'm already going over my scheduled time, but that's fine. This was wonderful to see. I'm just going to show some of them. Megawatts. I want to learn how to generate art and graphics algorithmically. I think this would be a great way to improve my coding skills and learn some new tools while also gaining some experience in art and graphic design. And look at Megawatts doing these really cool algorithmic pieces, not just these sort of hex art pieces. Oh, here's the construction of the components for that. But other really interesting color palettes. Even like this I think this hexagon's really pretty, man. Or I guess a hex grid is the more appropriate phrase. Oh, look, on the 9th day, day 9 layouts. Look at this. A little touch of Mondrian. Hey, it's a day 9. I think this is awesome. And there's additional imagery here with descriptions, and there's even some animations that are down here. Like, look, oh, this is so cool, taking these photos and peeling out squares and color palettes from it. Where's some of the... Yeah, there we go. There's some of the animations in there. Woo! Yeah! Spinning schvaz. Who else do we got here? Oh, yes, Sweffimo. Sweffimo says, I want to take at least one photo every day that is both aesthetically pleasing and has some kind of relevant meaning to my daily life. Along with writing a short description journal entry. Revamp 10-year-old personal website to be able to showcase my photography work and have this journal be one of the pages. Look at Seth's imagery. Look at this. Look at these photos. The coloring in them is incredible. Oh my god. Look at this one, is so cool. I mean, did you just drive to a forest and go, oh, this'll be cool? Or were you walking and you saw this and a trail of blood and said, before I investigate the blood, I want to take a photograph of this car. And there's the bird of the day that you saw me focused on earlier. Look at these. Oh, look at these. Day 19 pair of cardinals. There are a lot more birds in our yard now that we have the bird feeder. Some of them don't really even use it. Oh, look at the little guys. They're so sweet. Made sure to block the license plate. Did he now? Oh, nice. Nice. Sweffimo has just some incredible pieces there. Oh, this was great. Pipmel was looking to explore different animation techniques. A highly structured attempt at becoming a better animator through trying a bunch of stuff. I'll explore different styles in search of something to call my style. And here's the final animation piece. Look. You're catching it. And what's fantastic here is all these different animation style attempts. Like, look at how stylistically different each and every one of these is. Vector art animation. Oh. More traditional anime style animation. Look at this. Pixel art. Hair blonde. Oh my god. Character rigging, this sort of like paper doll style. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh yeah, I didn't realize that it was the Don't Starve art style when I first saw this. And then Animation 8 contained my own style, I think. You know, this is something that I've heard recommended with a lot of projects where if you have like a game idea and an image in your head, or a short story, or not a short story, sorry, I'm thinking visually, a short film or a show or anything like that, not to just go with your first intuition of what it should be, but to just try out some different styles. To just force a weird looking style out, or a weird looking aesthetic or idea, and just give it a shot. Just see how it turns out. And I just think this is just incredible that Pip Me has all these different animation techniques to work with, and each one is actually pretty damn lovely. That's actually going to be me right after I get off this show. Oh, and let me see if I can get the contain in full HD. All right, get ready. It's 3 seconds long. I love the sound. It's really nice in full screen HD, huh? Bonk. All right, let me come back over to here. All right, next one from Wall of Blossoms. Would like to learn how to use photo editing software to color black and white photos, particularly historical photos. Dude, Wall of Blossoms. This is one of the things that was such a treat in terms of looking at all the visual art category. I mean, there's just so many different and amazing instances of visual art in that category. I mean, look at the taking this black and white photo, colorized. This was an interesting one to read about. Wall of Blossoms challenges to work on this one, and it's so cool. This is so tight. Second photograph. Look at this color blue. I love the color blue on the jackets. I mean, it's just incredible. It's going to be me right after this. I mean, this sort of work must be so tedious. Subtle to do. Wall of Blossoms, just some incredible coloration. Bolvar wanted to recreate the overworld of The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past in Blender, then get it printed, framed, and Bolvar, I want to buy this shit, man. Look at this. Are you guys ready? Dun da 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 dun dun da. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now you might be going, what does that look like up close? Well, I got you covered. Boom. This is actually this area right here. Look at the incredible detail in the bushes. Look at just the talent and commitment. And you know, like I was even talking about this maybe 45 minutes ago when reviewing these. I got a lot of my experience early on in development just copying shit, just going, I'm going to make that. And just, you know, if 90% of the work has been done for you and you're still you're just focusing on that 10%, that 10% has a hell of a lot more size and depth and richness to it than you might want to initially think. Oh, you want to make something in Blender? Just make this map that has already been made, the layout's been chosen, the color palette's been chosen, the art style's been chosen. And there's still just like so much creative room in there in terms of how exactly everything is modeled and where you choose to cut the corners and how you choose to do the edges and all this stuff. And there's a lot of really wonderful images down here just showing comparison and contrasts and like different areas up close that, my God, Bolvar was just as detailed with updating this blog as with making the actual map. Ah, it was so cool. And our last one for today. This is the perfect one to end on from Llama Tech and the visual art. I want to become better at designing and drawing characters. I've always wanted to be good at drawing, but never took the time to learn. I spent my youth tracing other people's art until now. One thing I hate about social media is you see the end results and not a lot of the process. You see the end results and not a lot of the process. And Llama Tech included a few end results, but a lot of the in-between process. Look at this dragon attempt. Hello! Espresso yourself. Not today. I've already had way too much coffee. Oh man, look some art I made for my mom. Thought she might like, look how happy. Ooh. Look at, there's nose. Nose, 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 nose. Nose, 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 nose. Ear, 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 ear. Mouth, 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 mouth. Mouth, 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 mouth. Hey! Happy hippo. And each of these is actually labeled in terms of an illustration count. Look at this. Look at the little turtle tortellini. He's so cute. He's so cute. We got sketches. More sketches. I actually really love the Fancy Woman sketch a lot. Eyeballs. Eyes, 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 eyes. Hooray! And I just love the repetition and the focus on the process. Much less the focus on individual pieces. Because I really have found that anything I've ever become good at, there was no natural talent at all. Anything I've ever become good at was just through essentially patienceing my way through it. Just being a patient bear. And with that, this DK30 is donezo. It is funzo and donezo. And so I want to thank all of you for participating in this DK30. For the next DK30, I personally am interested in trying to take on some specific project and try to really push forward and have a kind of a tangible thing, because my last few ones have been about, like this one was about just focusing on reading, focusing on calling friends. The one beforehand, I totally, absolutely bombed out on. I completely shat the bed on that project. And then the one before that was about me trying to regulate my sleep schedule. Witty Adrian says, are we going to have a game jam again for the next time? Asked Witty Adrian. We will be having a DK30 at the end part of this year that has a game jam portion, which is we take people's various skill sets and compose little teams with them for them to work together with each other on making a game prototype. It's a very game dev focused last one, but I don't know if that's going to be the next one. The world is insane right now. Everyone's still in quarantine and lockdown, and as various locations open up, is that going to be the start of opening things up permanently, or is that going to be the start of quarantine round 2? Who knows? The important thing is that we want to try to work around how the schedules are functioning for everyone all around the globe to make sure the maximum number of people can participate. If we have too many DK30s in a year, it's fatigue. If people have not enough social outlets and opportunities to do things, DK30 can actually help with that, help create a little bit more of some camaraderie in these troubling times. Regardless, I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. I don't know what on earth is going to be happening with my schedule for the next week. I think the week after I'm just going to take off. The week of June 8th, I'm done. Dunzo. I'm outie. I am now going to go lie down and pet a soft little brown cat, and if she will let me, soft little gray cat. I'm going to go. Next week is largely PC Gamer focused. Yeah. I will, I'm just going to go. Goodbye. Yeah.